I'm your host, Nikki Marie. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel under Kids Enlightenment HQ. Just a quick interview announcement on Tuesday, October 22nd from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. CommonCents will be hosting a FGC esports tournament at the Microsoft on 677 Fifth Avenue. Make sure you bring a book and get ready to compete with celebrity guests from Hot 97, the hip hop gamer. Episode 10 in full effect with Sergeant Kai Bowen.
That's right.
Yes. So on January 7th, 2008, you became a police officer.
That's correct. Correct.
And then you were promoted to sergeant in 2014.
That's it.
So let's get into a little bit about your family background.
Sure, sure.
So I have two boys, and growing up, a lot of them would say, well, I want to be a police officer or a firefighter, or I don't know, randomly a lawyer.
Okay.
But did you always want to be a police officer?
Actually, no. Not
No.
even I don't think that was even on my radar as
Yeah.
a boy. The only thing I ever wanted to be was a professional football player. That was it.
Ah.
No fallback plan, no other options. Just I was going to the league and that was it.
So how was life growing up? Like, where were you born, and how did you become a police officer? For
Well,
those who may want to know the process.
yeah, well for me it was kind of a roundabout way, but I was born in Brooklyn, Coney Island. And I guess I had an average New York City kid upbringing,
Hmm.
you know,
Okay.
running around, getting into the things
That
Brooklynites
young,
get into.
yeah.
Right, right. But to become a police officer, that was something actually my mom was kind of, heavy handed with me. And she was like,
Mhm.
listen, you're going to take this police test and it's a good city job. And,
Yeah.
that's kind of the way, we were brought up to get a good foothold in life, get a good
Hmm.
job and move on. And it still really didn't appeal to me until when I was in high school. September 11th happened, and
Oh,
that
yeah.
kind of really spurred me into like, you know what, I want to be in a position where I can help should something
Yeah.
like this happen ever again. And that's kind of was the impetus for me actually pursuing and going forward with being
Yeah.
a police officer.
It's kind of funny that you would say that because a lot of people were like, well, I do want to help, but at that capacity where my life is in danger, that's something that people would be like, no, I'm not doing it. Because I almost went into the Navy
Okay.
and then 9/11 happened. And my mom was like, no,
Yeah,
not doing it because I don't want you risking your life.
I had some of the same. My loved ones obviously had the concerns that police officer is a dangerous job, and it is.
Right.
It's there's no way around it. It is dangerous, but you kind of have to put that aside and put
Hmm.
your desire to affect the community, affect the world, and help above that because
Right.
somebody's got to do it.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, speaking of that, because it almost goes into the community type of response that you're saying, you want to be that community leader.
absolutely.
So, speaking of community,
Here we go. Get to it.
I feel there's a lot of drawback,
Hmm.
between the community and NYPD.
Hmm.
There's a lot of things that we see on the surface, but we don't really see what's going on underneath.
Correct.
So, how is it that we can, build a stronger community with NYPD helping?
Um, Obviously, that is a hot button topic that's on the minds of everyone,
Yeah.
not just in New York City, but nationwide with police in the community. I think the main thing has to be accountability, and I think that has to be from both sides. I recently was talking to some folks, and I let them know the community has a responsibility to sort of police themselves. And when I say that, I mean they're responsible for maintaining order to a certain extent.
Right.
And then the police, when we come in, we do our part. It can't just be, the police, the police, the police. That being said, as police officers, we have a certain amount of accountability due to the oath that we took to help and protect and serve the
Right.
communities. So I think if both sides are more cognizant of what they need to do and hold themselves more accountable for the important job, which is keeping this city safe, then we'll be able to move forward. But that can only be done together.
So, how can NYPD build our confidence to make that a better relationship, because right now it's just broken. So,
Honestly, it's going to
y-
take work.
yeah.
It's going to take work. Like anything that's broken, it didn't start that way. The relationship deteriorates over time. And I
Hmm.
think if you pay attention to some of the things that we've tried to do, um, we're making strides towards that. You know,
It's kind of that love hate relationship.
yeah, I want a little more love, though. You
Hmm.
know, I want less hate. And
Yeah.
I understand that there's never going to be, and anyone who thinks it is naive. There's never going to
Yeah.
be 100% love between
Right.
the police and the community. But if we can reach an understanding about, how we go about things, I think we'll be fine. I can only speak for myself,
Right.
but I'm sure that most members of any police department
Hmm.
understand that for us to police effectively, we need community partnership.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work any other way. I think there's an old adage that says, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go
Hmm.
far, go together, right?
Hmm.
And that just has to be the mantra, excuse me, for police work. It has to be. We can't accomplish anything without one another. So the quicker we're able to build these bridges and repair the bridges that have been burned
Right.
in some instances,
Yeah.
then the better off we'll be. But make no mistake, it's going to take work, and that word accountability on both sides to really make it better.
Yeah. Now that you are a sergeant, what leadership role do you have versus being, they call them a runt cop?
A run, a run cop. Yeah, I could see how the public could view that, but I gotta say the actual police officer that's out there, boots on the ground every
Hmm.
single day, those are the superstars.
Hmm.
They really are. They are the first line of defense, so to
Yeah.
speak. And being a sergeant, I'm a frontline supervisor, but those cops out there doing the day to day work, meeting the people, interacting every day, those are the real heroes to me and to
Yeah.
to most leaders. The people that work for you are going to make you look good.
Yeah.
So where I come in, the message that I deliver to those that work for me can speak volumes.
Hmm.
If I'm correct and I carry myself in a correct way, the likelihood of the people that work for me doing the same thing is very high.
Yeah.
So you have to start with yourself, like
Yeah.
anything else. Start with yourself, set the example, and those that work for you and under you will hopefully follow suit.
Right. It sounds like a hierarchy situation.
Oh yeah.
Like
Oh
like
yeah.
I know for Common Sense, we're basically an organization that try to provide some type of information,
Hmm.
and we're kind of like a fraternity, if you will.
Yep.
So how is it for NYPD, like the hierarchy situation? Like how is the ladder, I
The
guess?
rank structure, I guess
Yeah.
you mean. So it's we call ourselves a paramilitary organization, not a military organization, but we have rank structure similar to them. We have police officer, sergeant, lieutenant, captain, deputy inspector, inspector, and then chief, all the way up from there to the police commissioner.
Nice.
But we're really unified. The messages come out from the top; they get delineated through the ranks, and we try to have that unity all from top to bottom.
What's your next step?
Oh, well, since you asked, I passed the lieutenant's test a couple years ago, so I'm
High
waiting. I am
five!
waiting to get promoted.
Yes.
So the faster these names move along, I should be promoted pretty soon.
Congratulations.
Thank
Wait,
you.
so you're gonna be like Lieutenant Mike?
Yeah, yeah.
Mike Larry?
Hopefully,
No.
because Lieutenant Mike is good people. So
Yes.
hopefully we can do some good things together.
Yeah.
He's awesome. So soon I'll be a lieutenant.
Nice.
Yep.
Yay. So I'm coming to the party.
Come on over. It's gonna be big.
I'm invited. Okay, so now we're gonna go back to NYPD in a second, but I
Sure.
want to know what else you have going on besides now getting there to lieutenant. Yay.
Oh man,
But what else do you have going on personally?
so much. I spend most of my time honestly just being a dad. I have an 8-year-old daughter who is
Oh,
the light of my
she's
life.
so cute.
Thank you so much. She really is everything to me. So I spend most of my time doing that. But I play football for the police department.
Nice.
Big into working out. I've done a few amateur bodybuilding competitions. So I'm big into fitness.
Oh yeah, I did see a little bit of that.
Right. It's on my IG. Fitness, athletics. I like to read as much as I can. Readers are leaders. They say. I
Yes.
know I learned that as a
Leadership
young
and
boy.
readership.
You got it. So that's really all I do with my personal time and try to promote as much positivity as I can with
Yeah.
with any organizations that are like minded and are looking to affect this world in a positive way.
Hmm.
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Yep.
What are some of the past community events that you've been a part of?
Ooh, so many.
Okay, just
Recently,
say 3.
yeah, let's do it. I'll do the most recent one. I did one with Lieutenant Mike. We did a flag football game, like a unity game,
Yeah.
at Brooklyn Bridge Park to try and, bring the community and police together. Let them know, listen, we're all in the city
Yeah.
together. And that was with also H2O, Haran Hargrave. You
Yes,
know him,
yes.
yeah.
Shout
That's
out to
that's
H2O.
my guy. We went to high school together.
Balling for peace.
That's right, bowling for peace.
He actually texted me. I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
Well.
that was his event, and I was lucky enough to be included by them.
Yeah.
And I think right after that, we did a citywide exotic car and backpack drive, and
Mm.
that was pretty good too. So that's just the two things I've done recently.
Well, so I'm not a stalker. I'm not. But I was looking at your Instagram
Hmm.
and you said something about your definition of success.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So explain how you define success. And I know that when we met, you were driving a nice fancy car.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then you said something about kids don't have to, like, you want to show that kids don't have to do illegal
That's right.
things.
You ain't gotta be a dope boy to have money. You don't.
So it coincides with success. So if you can just elaborate on your definition of success, I think everybody needs to hear that.
Yeah. So what inspired me to make that post, I was hanging out in my old neighborhood, and it's so different, like where I
Mm,
live and how I live now
yeah,
versus how I was brought up.
yeah.
But I try to remain grounded and remember that I would not be who I am without those experiences
Mm,
that made me. But when you're a kid growing up in some of these neighborhoods, your definition of success is largely tied to materialistic things, what
right,
what you have, because you see, the the fancy cars, the
right.
jewelry,
Yeah.
and those are the people getting the attention, sometimes negative, sometimes positive. But as a kid coming up, excuse me, you want those same feelings. So for me, for a long time, my definition of success was I have to have a nice car. I have to have a nice house. Before that, I had to have Jordans. I had to have a gold
Right,
chain. All these things that are so-called status symbols, but in the end, they really mean next to nothing.
right.
So as I've grown and I started to achieve some of these milestones, if you would, of success, the more of them I got, the more I realized that that's really not what success is. So
Mm,
success is going to be subjective for all of us. But in my very humble opinion, I think success is the legacy you can leave for others once you're gone.
yeah.
Like what can you do to
Mm,
pay it forward to some
yeah.
of the young men and women
Yeah.
that are coming up behind you? And it has nothing to do with the car you drive, the
Right.
clothes you wear, the kind of house you live in. And I'm not saying that it's bad to have a nice car or it's bad to have a nice house. No, those things are pluses, but they don't make or break you. And in
Mm,
the end, the real success, I mean, the stuff that it's not tangible,
hmm.
you can't reach out and touch it, but
Yeah.
it's so real because how you affect the later generations and even those around you to a certain extent is the true definition of being a successful person to
Mm,
me.
yeah. Wow. That's powerful. But this is something that you had to learn over time,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You only learn that by going through
gradually.
it. Oh yeah. And
Yeah.
and a lot of learning. You know, it was stages.
Yeah.
I still in my early 20s, I still was concerned with, hey, I really gotta have a nice car.
Mm-hmm.
Are people going to accept me if I
Yeah.
don't have this and this and that? Now, once you attain a certain level of success, when you have the things, you don't even really care about them. Like I love my car, but it's not the end all be all
Right.
to what I do. It's
Right.
just a part of it.
So whether you had it or not, it's like,
Right,
ugh.
I'm good regardless. I'm good anyway.
I mean, you're a family guy, so it's
That's
not
right.
even
Well,
like,
it's got back seats. It
yeah.
doesn't look like it, but it got
Well,
back seats.
I think my daughter actually got in
Hmm.
your car.
Hmm.
Yeah,
We're taking pictures.
that was funny. What do you enjoy most about your career?
Oh man, I, it's going to sound cheesy, and whenever I say it, I know people roll their eyes and things like that. But I really enjoy being able to help people. I really do. I think that a common misconception about policing in general is that we want to come out and handcuff people and lock them up. And make no mistake,
Well,
People do need to go to jail, and I know that the community doesn't want to hear that. Some people have to go to jail
see, now you open up the door for
because
another question.
there's bad people in the world.
Right.
But the best part, my favorite part, and I think most police officers and law enforcement, people in general, is helping people.
Hmm.
That's what the oath is. When you say you're going to protect the city, also you do that in a manner in which you can help people out. So that's my favorite part: seeing people smile, getting someone out of a terrible
Hmm.
situation. Because as a police officer, 90% of the time, when someone calls you, they're in a bad place.
Yeah.
They need help.
True.
They are not in their finest hour when they
Unless
call you.
unless they're prank calling and saying that
And
we want to order 1,000
which
pizzas.
is a thing a thing that we have to deal with these days, unfortunately.
But I mean, okay, so you opened the door for this
Here we go.
question. So, have you ever had a situation where it was you versus someone on the force? And let's say you're not in uniform,
Hmm.
you're driving your car, and someone stops you. Have you ever been into a situation where there was a
When I
part of
when I was off duty and someone stopped me, a police
off,
officer.
yeah,
Hmm. I've been stopped.
like a racial profile situation?
No, that has never happened to me personally, but
Okay.
I get stopped all the time, and I
Why
drive
you get stopped all the
I
time?
drive a really nice car. I drive. Sometimes I'm driving too fast. I'm speeding. Whenever I get stopped, it's my own fault.
Right.
So I'm speeding. I'm probably
Do you
late.
be like, I'm sorry, officer?
I do actually, and
Oh,
that's actually advice I would give
you have
anyone.
manners. Okay.
Exactly, and it really boils down to just being a human being.
Right.
You know, you, I'm a police
Wait,
officer.
some a police officer stopped me and said that
Hmm.
I ran the stop sign.
Okay,
That wasn't true.
he lied.
He lied.
He's out here lying.
He lied.
Hmm. Did you
Can I
take?
use your badge number to
So
get out that situation?
absolutely not. So this is a great teaching point right here, right?
Okay.
So the police officer stopped you and said that you ran the stop sign.
Yes.
You disagreed.
Yeah.
That interaction
Hmm.
is not the time to discuss whether who's right or
Oh
who's
no,
wrong.
I didn't.
Good,
He
but
said license and registration, and I'm
and you
like, and
complied.
I just yeah.
If more people did that and understood, that's why we have courts. That's why we have the legal
Right.
system. Because when you go to court,
Hmm.
that same officer is going to have to present evidence to why he think you ran the stop sign. And if his evidence is insufficient, the only thing you lost is a day in court.
Right.
So it can be tough, of course, if you feel like you're in the right. But there's procedures for that. Go to
Hmm.
court, challenge it. If you think that you're right and the officer is wrong, state your evidence, and that's the way it should go. So yes, I have been stopped, but I conduct myself like that every time. If the officer stops me, I'm sorry, because I know I'm going fast.
Hmm.
And it usually goes fine. And I would say most interactions go like that, but those are not the ones that blow up and make
What
media
about
and things like that.
what about a stop and frisk situation?
Have
Have you
I
ever
ever been
had?
stopped and frisked?
Yeah.
Oh man, maybe when I was a boy, a
Oh,
long time ago.
okay.
A long time ago.
I just wanted to ask that question.
Yeah,
You'd be like, hey, I'm an officer too. Here you go. Here's my badge.
that could happen, but just it hasn't happened to me, so I can't speak to that situation.
Okay. All right. So, what is a typical day for you?
Hmm.
Wake up in the morning.
A work day, or I'm
A
just
work
cooling
day. A
out.
work
Okay.
day.
So I wake up. The first thing I do is go to the gym. That's my number one thing. I go to the gym for about an hour, come home, take a shower, eat, and start to plan out my day, and whatever errands I have to run before work, I take care of that, and then I head into work, and I drive in. Anyone that follows me on Instagram knows I sing the whole
I'm
way.
so done.
I'm just a happy guy, man. So I'm
Well, I
singing the
see
whole way.
that. I see long, long ago,
Yeah.
you had some interactions with your guys. Are they still your friends now? Do they try to get your badge number so they can get out of
No,
trouble?
no. I've been blessed that I've had the same friends since
Yeah.
childhood, and we've really been able to watch each other come up and grow,
Hmm.
and they've been supportive. I didn't get any of that. Oh, you're becoming a cop, and I didn't get any of that from my
You'd be like,
friends.
oh, I can't believe it. You're a traitor.
No, they just like I said. I guess I'm lucky, and I think the views that we have towards police and towards life in general is policing is what I do. It's not who I am,
Mm,
and I don't think if you do the job in the correct manner, you really won't have a
Right.
problem. It doesn't infringe on me in any way.
The thing is, like, some people,
Hmm.
and I haven't met everyone, um, that's an officer, but some people will say that officers don't wanna help. They just wanna join this gang, they call it the boys in blue,
I've heard that.
and they just wanna kill people.
Hmm.
That's how some people perceive the police department or the police officers.
I am aware, and truth be told, that saddens me because I also don't know every police officer. New York City Police Department is large,
Huge, yeah.
but I've worked with many over the course of my career, and I haven't encountered anyone that had that mentality. Police work is difficult work, and as is existing in New York City as a whole.
Mhm.
But I think if anyone took the time to take a step back and realize there's 8+ million people in New York City,
Yeah,
we rarely have incidents.
yeah,
Based on the numbers, we do a decent job. Are police perfect? Absolutely not. But it's the same as in any profession. The difference is when you're a police officer, everything gets magnified,
right.
everything gets amplified.
Yes.
Rightly so, because you have the power to take someone's freedom away, take
Right,
someone's life away,
right.
and for the most part, I know that police officers take it very seriously and try to do their job to the best of their ability. That does not mean everything is going to be peachy every single day or
Mhm.
every single encounter because
Right.
there's too many variables.
Mhm.
There's so many different attitudes towards police, so many different levels of criminality. Like, maybe somebody stole a bag of chips, or maybe this guy committed a murder. You can't approach those
Right,
two in the same way. So that view that's out there really saddens me. I know it saddens most members of the police department to know that we have this massive disconnect between the community, and it needs to be fixed. And I think that, again, um, accountability,
mhm,
communication, things like that will go a long way towards getting us where we need to
right,
be. But it won't happen overnight. But the effort at least needs to be made on both sides. And I have to say, I see the effort being made. And change is coming, but progress is slow sometimes.
yeah,
And we want to get to where we can have a coexistence here without so much friction.
yeah. If someone wants to become a police officer, what would be the first thing that they should do?
Take the police test. That's number one. Take the police test. I believe you need 60 college credits
Hmm,
still to become a police officer, or time in the military. Don't quote me on that, but I believe those are requirements. And if they want to do it, I would encourage them. It's a great job. It's not easy work. Uh, People are not going to like
right.
you, and as long as you can handle that,
I,
you'll be
I
fine.
I think that sometimes we forget that people, we're all human
Right.
at the end of the day.
Right.
It's not our job title to represent who we are as
Hmm.
people,
Hmm.
but it's really hard to see someone in a uniform. Like my son. So last year I went to Miami and someone stole my phone.
Okay.
I have a tracker on my phone. So we were able to track the phone, who had it. So we contacted the police and, it was all crazy, but I got my phone back.
Okay. Good.
But my son was terrified to see a police officer. And at the time, he was 6.
No good. No
So
good.
I don't really know where that comes from. Because even now, I try to tell him, like, no, they're to protect us. And, law enforcement, they're not all bad. But that perception
It's
is
there.
his
Right.
reality.
And perception is often reality.
Yeah.
And um, no matter what you do, you're not
Mhm.
going to be able to combat some of the images he may see
Right.
on media, social or otherwise,
Media. Right.
that are out there. The only thing I can say is have him introduce him to some positive interactions. Bring him to me,
Right.
and I guarantee you, by day's end, he won't be scared of police anymore.
Okay.
Because we cannot survive like that. As a
Yeah.
people, we will not survive that way. When you see a police officer, your first instinct should be, that's my safe haven.
Right.
That person is going to help me. The only time you should fear the police is if you're out here committing crimes.
Right.
That's that's it. If you're a regular citizen, you should not have this ingrained sense of fear towards police.
Yeah.
And that narrative does get spun out of control by the media. I'm a firm believer in that. And that is not to discount, some of the negative things that do happen between
Hmm.
police and the community, because that is a thing also. But send them,
Yeah.
send them to me, send them
I,
all.
I think it happens in two folds, right? So we have the media that misrepresents Black people. Then you have the media that sometimes represent I mean, they have a negative representation when it comes to police or anyone. It's
Hmm.
like the media, if you're watching the news, you see things that could terrify you.
Hmm.
And then that's it. It's embedded in your mind. You
Yep.
start having bad dreams
Now you're
and
stuck.
yeah.
Now you're stuck. I call it the blanket syndrome.
Mm,
You cannot blanket a group of people.
yeah.
All black people are this.
Right.
All white people are this. All Asian people are this. All police are this way. There's no all. There's no certainties. There's no 100% anything with any group.
Yeah.
We have to start looking at each other as individuals and start saying, well, this cop is good.
Hmm.
This black person is good. This white person is good. When did we become so enamored with labeling whole groups of people? That is a mistake on any level.
Yeah.
All these doctors are bad.
Hmm.
All these lawyers are bad. All of them? Come on. All of all of them? It's impossible.
You can't find a good lawyer nowhere.
Or
No.
I hear the narrative. I'm not ignorant to the things. I hate cops. Cops are terrible, and I'm always like, all of them, all of them. You didn't even meet me yet. You don't even know how good I
Yeah.
am. But I do understand. Again, I'm not naive to the fact that when things happen, people take that into account.
Yeah.
And when it keeps happening, or when it's perceived to keep happening, and the media gets a hold of it and spins it to whatever narrative they want to use,
Yeah.
it's hard for people. So I try to look at it from both sides, and I think if everyone did that,
Hmm.
if the police look at the community standpoint, the community look at the police standpoint, then we'll be able to better understand each other and move forward that way.
Yeah.
Because that blanket that blanket practice doesn't work. It
Yeah.
just doesn't.
You talked about reading. So the last two things, what is the book that you're currently reading or have you read that you would recommend? And then the other one is how do you, now that you're becoming this lieutenant, I'm assuming there's a pay increase along with
Oh
that.
yeah,
So,
I need it. Give it to
how
me.
do you educate yourself on your finances?
Oh man, good.
So let's go with the book
Very good
first.
questions. So the book I'm reading now is called "Lies My Teacher Told Me."
Oh,
It's a very good book. I forget the author, but I will get it to you. It's basically
wait, say that again.
"Lies My Teacher Told Me."
Okay.
It's a fascinating book. It's actually not a direct sequel, but a related book to the people's
Hmm.
history of the United States, which is kind of a view on history from the people's perspective,
Hmm.
not the government perspective. So if you're into learning something that they might not teach you in the special place we call
Mm-hmm.
school,
Yeah.
that is a good book to pick up.
Interesting.
Yep. As
What
far as
age? What age range do you think this would be?
I don't want to get into trouble and have the young kids start reading this and going to
Uh,
school and be like, teacher, you are lying. You are a liar. You are telling me tales. So I might reserve
All
this
right.
for the the late
Like,
the later
yeah.
ages.
Okay.
Once you've learned it and you're able to discern,
Mm-hmm.
okay, maybe this part of what you're telling me is true, but this other stuff is a
Gotcha.
little,
Okay.
so a little a little later on in life would probably be
Gotcha.
best for that one.
Okay. And then as far as the financial literacy part.
Oh man, it's such an important topic, and to be completely honest, I was financially illiterate
Mm,
until my mid 20s,
wow.
and that's a scary thing.
Yeah.
I really had no concept of how to manage money, how to save money, how to invest money. It was something that, where would I get it from?
Right.
They don't teach it in school.
Mm,
My mom, God bless her, but she wasn't well versed enough to give me the necessary knowledge to manage my finances or learn how to invest properly. So I really had to do a lot of the independent
mm,
research on my own. The good thing is the knowledge is out there if you want to know.
yeah.
You can start investigating, excuse me, researching the stock market, how to invest your
You're such a
money.
cop.
Why? Why?
Investigating.
You're right, right. It just came. It came natural. Investigate that stock market, but no, researching it and finding ways to make your money work for you. That you so hopefully you can build. I think the catchphrase now is generational wealth. You don't
Yes.
want to just have money, and you want to build so that you have some financial freedom.
Yeah.
Because once you have that, your life can go so many different ways
Right.
because you're not, under the gun of, well, I need to make this money and living paycheck to paycheck. So I believe that's something that needs to be instituted into the curriculum.
Yeah.
Let's do less of the making model cars and these
Yeah.
electives and the cooking, and let's do financial literacy to
Home
teach,
ec.
right, home ec.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's much easier to figure out on the fly
Yeah,
than
it
trying
is.
to to manage your
Even
money.
now on YouTube, you
Right.
can learn how to do those
Yeah, yeah,
things. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. So I think that definitely needs to be something that's put into the curriculum with regard to our young men and women to get them, to set them up with a platform from which they can go forward and be productive members
Yeah.
of society.
What are some of the challenges that you face on and off duty?
Um, on duty, I would say the challenges are mostly what we've spoken about today. That
Okay.
there is a disconnect. So a lot of times, how you and I are here communicating,
Mm-hmm.
that cannot happen on the street, and we need it to be able to. That dialogue needs to be able to take place, but the very barriers that we've been discussing here are in the way. So I think if you could sit normally, almost any two people in a room to have a conversation, it can be civil, they can learn from each other, and even
Right.
if they don't agree with each other, they can walk away at least knowing that they communicated and tried to build a bridge.
Right.
But when you have large groups, like a person is smart, a person is compassionate,
Mm-hmm.
but people are not. People are irrational.
Mm.
People get roped into whatever views of the group, and
Right.
that's where we run into
I see
trouble.
what you're
So
saying. Yeah.
the dialogue needs to happen between all sides, police department, community, and then the obstacle, which is just trying to get the message out there that I'm here to help you.
Right.
you know that doesn't mean sometimes the help you need might be a kick in your behind.
Mm-hmm.
People don't want to hear that, but that may be the help you need today.
Right.
But in the end, my job is to help you. So I would say that that's my biggest obstacle, on duty, just being able to convey the message that, listen, the police are here to help you, and I know it's unpopular. I
Mm-hmm.
know it's not what people want to hear, but trust me, if we start with me, I tell anyone, if you don't believe that, start with me, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll branch out from there, because I know so many guys that are willing to sit down and talk to you
Yeah.
and help you. So let's start from there and branch out.
I mean, I know you can't really answer this question now because you're already in the police department, but let's say if you were not a police officer,
Mhm.
do you think you would feel the same way?
It's hard for me to speculate
I
how I
know.
would feel,
Yeah.
but I try to harken back to before I was a cop. I was
Mm.
a young black teenager in New York City, and I didn't really I didn't really have any negative interactions with the cops. I was really about my business. I was in things like that. And the interaction I did have was not overly negative or
Right.
negative at all. So I can't speak to that. Again, I'll always go back to, in a city of 8 million plus people, we really don't have that many negative
Right.
interactions when you look at it. And that's not me discounting that things don't happen. I'm never going to come in any forum and say, you know what? You people are crazy. The police are amazing. No, no, no. That's not what I'm saying. Give us the same credence you give anybody else.
Hmm.
A doctor, a lawyer. That
Right.
lawyer was terrible. But just that one
Yeah.
lawyer,
Yeah.
right? Not all lawyers everywhere.
It's kind of like when a doctor tells you that something is wrong with you.
Hmm.
You're like, all right, I'm going to go get a second opinion.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we're people at the end of the day.
Right.
Police are people. And out of every 10 people, you might get one that's a little messed up.
Yeah.
But that doesn't spoil the whole bunch. And I think that's the message we need to put out there, that there are some good cops, just like there are plenty of good people.
True.
That's it.
What are some of the challenges that you face off duty?
Man, I'm a dad to an 8-year-old girl. I mean, Dad, you're so annoying. Dad, you're making me late. Dad, I mean, that's really the only challenge. I really can't complain too much. I don't
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of challenges. I have a really good life. I'm blessed. You know, I don't have any challenges.
Nice.
If I come up with any, I'll let you
I'm done.
know.
What can you send us off with? Like, what positive message can we close the show out with?
um, I think over the years, so many people have touched upon it. Um, start with the man in the mirror.
Mm.
Be the change you want to see in the world. All these quotes, that everyone
Hmm.
knows, but they really do speak volumes. If you want to get anything done on a positive level, you have to not only start with yourself, but search yourself.
Yeah.
What are your prejudices? What are your shortcomings? And start to work on those. And when you do, you'll start to see that people that are just like you, that want to promote positivity, that want to be better, will join with you. And now all of a sudden, you have this movement of people pushing against the negative narrative that's out
Right.
there. Because we live in a world that loves negativity. They love to spin things
Yeah.
out of
That's
control.
true.
So start with yourself and
Yeah.
start small.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do, you want to write a book. Write a book. It doesn't have to be on Oprah's book club, but when I write mine, she got to pick it up. But no, start small and start with yourself, because once you hold yourself accountable,
Mm,
you will attract people like that, and you won't stand for anything less.
right.
And that's the best thing I can put out there.
Are there any events and things that we should know about that you
You know,
have going on
I
or?
don't have anything coming up currently, and the holiday season is rapidly approaching, so that's
Yes.
gonna be our focus. But I would like to take this time, just a few minutes, to talk about what I actually do for work, my
Okay.
unit. I was fortunate enough to meet a lieutenant uh, a couple years ago that was like-minded, just like me, wanted to affect positivity and growth in some of our communities, and she put together a program that we mentor young men. We provide tutoring and
Mm,
after-school programs, while also teaching them about athletics and trying to steer them away from some of the negative things that are out there. It's really great. I mean,
mm,
we've been doing it for about 2 years now, and I really feel like I'm able to do everything that we're talking about
yeah.
now, because the youth, their minds are like sponges, as you know.
Yes, that is very true.
And if we can affect some of these young men before they start making the decisions that lead them to police interactions later on, I think
Mm,
that's a win. So that's what I'm able to do every day. My team is amazing. If any of them are watching or listening, I have an amazing team. I have an amazing boss. Even the bosses in my hierarchy, they've enabled me to do this work, and we're seeing dividends. My boys,
nice.
compared to the other students in their schools, are performing at a better rate
Wow.
academically, behaviorally,
Yeah.
emotionally, and socially. And so it really is good. So that is the main thing I'm doing
What's the
every
name?
day. It's called the Neighborhood Coordination School Initiative,
Oh,
and currently we operate in
okay.
Far Rockaway on the peninsula
Team
there.
Farquhar. How can people get involved with
If anyone has any
like
questions, they could,
donation or something?
yes, that they can reach out to me on social media, and we can
Oh,
get them involved.
so you have to say your social media.
It is Broke the Mold on Instagram. I think that's the only one I really use.
That's not. It's
That's it.
no, it's like
It is. That is it.
broke
Yeah, I
underscore.
can't. I can't. It's got a lot of symbols
I'm
in it.
done.
Just if you're watching and listening, broke, it's gonna come up. I'm not that popular, but I'm popular enough that if you put it in, and it'll come up. Broke them all, and I can get them the information, especially anyone that's looking to gather more information on us, or willing to help out.
Yeah,
We always appreciate that.
I think that is what our youth needs. They need to see excellence, right?
Agreed.
They need to see positive change. They need those positive
I
affirmations
agree
and
100%.
all that stuff. So that's pretty awesome. They
Thank
need
you.
motivation,
Thank you.
and that's what we're here to do. We're here to inform, motivate, and try to get resources to those that really need it.
You said it all. Think about it. If we can do the work now that we need to do with these young men and women, we may not have to have these conversations in the future.
Exactly.
We may not be talking about
Mhm.
why the police and the community are disconnected. We may be having a conversation.
Right.
Wow, look at the growth we were able to achieve
Yeah.
because we're unified.
Yeah.
So it starts small, but
Like I
we
always
got
tell my kids, I'm like, the more you know, the more you grow.
it. That's right.
So
Like the rainbow, the more you know.
basically,
hmm Yeah, yeah,
they started watching Reading Rainbow, but
yeah. That's a
that's
good
that's a
show,
whole
man.
different thing.
That's a good
Throwback. That's
show.
a throwback.
Oh yeah, a little bit. I used to watch it. Was my
YouTube.
time.
YouTube.
You can watch anything.
Yeah.
I put my daughter on to a lot of the older shows. Dad, this is boring. I'm like, boring. I used to watch this every
Back in the
day.
day.
You crazy?
Yeah.
She's a big fan of Fresh Prince, though. She likes
Oh.
that. She likes it. She's like, Dad, Will Smith used to be so funny. I'm like, he's
Oh, she
still
said
funny.
used to
I know,
be.
right? Well,
Ooh.
don't, you know. I had to put on to some of the new stuff.
So anyway, so thank you for that
Absolutely,
information.
absolutely.
Thank you for being here. I know there was a lot of topics that we couldn't really get into,
Oh no, well,
but
I'm glad we were able
you were
to discuss what we could. At least we
yes,
can only do what
yes,
we can.
yeah.
So I'm happy to be here. And thank you for having me. I really
No
appreciate it.
problem, no problem.
Awesome.
Hopefully, we'll have some events soon
Yes. Yes.
together.
And everybody tune in because you put out some really good content.
Oh,
And
thank
I'm
you,
so
thank you,
I think
thank you.
more people need to understand that you're talking about the things that people really want to hear about
Yeah,
and things that are going to affect the world, the city in a positive
yeah.
way. So please tune in.
That's crazy because I was actually on with Heron, and I was saying how he is affecting change just one event at a
Yeah,
time,
absolutely. He's dope.
one movement,
He's dope. That's my
right?
guy.
So I think if we have more of those
Oh
conversations,
yeah,
then
it will
and
spread. As fast as the negativity spreads, we have to combat that with
yeah,
positivity. We have to, or else it's gonna drown us out.
yeah,
Because so many positive events are happening all around the city. They get no coverage,
right,
no media coverage.
right.
No one wants to hear about that. But let one negative thing happen, and it's all over the front page.
Hey, I posted
So,
on my Instagram story. I said I took a poll, and I said, would you rather hear or see the drama,
mhm.
that love and hip hop drama,
Yep, yep,
or would you rather something that's less drama, like
yeah.
I don't know, the Golden Girls.
Ye- Oh, you went all the way.
So
Thank you for being a fan. Right, you went all the way
so
over.
but most of the people were like, we want drama.
Right. But
That's what sells.
and we've been conditioned to be that way now. That's
Yes.
the problem.
It's terrible.
And now that it's we could go on and on
And
with
and then
this.
you create this, and now you want to take it back.
Hmm. It's tough.
It's going to take time. It's a gradual thing.
It can be done, but it's like you said, it's gonna take time. No, it's not gonna be easy, and we have to come to grips with the fact that we are part of the problem. If we
Yeah,
feed into
that's
the
true.
negativity and
Yeah, that's true.
we get wrapped up
We're
in it,
buying
and
it.
we're the consumer.
Yeah.
They're gonna keep pumping it as
What does
long as
the
we're buying
consumer
it.
want?
I don't even watch the news. It gets too crazy. It's depressing.
I only watch the news because I want to find out what the weather is,
Right, right. Just
or maybe
use the
there's
app.
one, or
Use the
maybe there's one or two things that are
yeah.
like, huh.
That's what they do. They put murder, shooting, drama,
And then the
catastrophe,
weather.
and then the weather. And then right when the news is going off, and a lady rescued 6 puppies in Manhattan. They
And it's
tuck
very
in a little
quick. It's
right.
very quick.
So
Yeah.
that's what we've become. But again, if we do the right thing, if we start doing the work, people like you, myself, H2O, Lieutenant Mike, my boss, there's so many people I could go on and on that are not getting the proper recognition for the
Yeah.
positive work that they're doing. If we could get those people to start to get recognized and known for what they're doing,
Hmm.
we may not be having this conversation 20 years
Yeah.
from now,
That's
30 years
true.
from now. So here's hoping.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel on Kid Enlightenment HQ. Don't forget on Tuesday, October 22nd from 4 to 8, there will be a FGCE sports tournament. Can't wait for that at Microsoft.
All right.
Um, and we'll have celebrity guest hip hop gamer from Hot 97. That's going to be so amazing. He's actually a really dope guy. So I'm glad I was able to meet him. But yeah, that's it. If you guys want to sponsor any of these podcast episodes, you can always go to kidlightenment.us. Yay.
Right.
That was so dope.
Yeah.